This is Derrick Broze with Activist Post and the Conscious Resistance. I'm here at the Free Your Mind conference in Philadelphia, talking with Ken O Keefe. How are you doing?
Doing well, doing well.
I want to give you, first, we have a couple of different questions for you, and you've done a lot of different work over the years, but I want to give you an opportunity first to maybe explain a bit of your bio, who you are today as a human being, as an activist, for those who might not be aware of your work.
Well, I guess the quick version is, like every other American, I grew up believing my nation was the greatest in the world, joined the Marine Corps at 19, was willing to kill or be killed for this country. And while I was in the Marine Corps, I spoke out against some abuse of power, and I was punished quite severely for that. And it was a trauma, a shock, quite frankly, and it deprogrammed me, basically broke the programming, allowed me to start thinking for myself. And from the young age of 22, 21, I basically, recaptured the ability to think for myself. And, everything that I do now is a reflection of the ability to see the world for what it is rather than the illusion that's perpetuated. And, over the years, I've been involved in marine conservation, direct action, human rights issues, Palestinian issues. And ultimately, I've got a project about world citizenship that I'm getting ready to present in the next few months. And I firmly believe, despite all the darkness of this world, there's a lot of beauty in there, and we have solutions for all of our problems. And if we want, we can reclaim the power that we've relinquished to the powers that be, these son of a bitches who run the world. They have no power other than that which we've given them. So I say we take it back and create a better world, something that we can feel good about handing to our children.
Absolutely. And before, because I would definitely want to give you a chance to talk more about those solutions and World Citizen. Before we get into that, though, I want to sort of take your assessment on the current situation, which, for a lot of people, it does look bleak. They look at the political parties, especially in the United States, and see the Clinton and the Trump and all this, election drama, and don't have a lot of hope. What is your take on, I guess, the ability for, those who are sort of behind the scenes running things to divide this country? Because personally, I feel like, wow, this is just a very intense time where people have taken their sides, where they feel in this, these different parties and these different ideals, and it seems like there's people more divided than ever, from one stance.
Yeah, well, I think first off, my response to that is that the tyrant knows no better friend than the cynic. The person who is all too aware of the problems, who is unfortunately unaware of the solutions, the person who takes the cynical point of view that the world has always been this way, it'll always be that way, take care of yourself first, worry about others later. This is what the tyrant requires. If we believe that we can create a better world and furthermore take action in pursuit of that, we will achieve it. But if we believe that we cannot change it, if we only focus on the negative aspects of our society, then we will effectively absolve ourselves of responsibility, simply clinging to that cynical view, and the tyrants will win. So I think that's the first prison that we need to get out of, is the idea that it's all problematic, that it's all divisive. We have far more in common, all of us around the world. I've traveled the world, I've visited places that most will never go, and the thing that I've seen over and over again is that people basically want the same thing. I don't care what religion, what color your skin is, I don't care where you come from, we all basically want the same thing. The powers that be have manipulated the situation to make it seem like we're all adversarial, but the truth is we're not. We have the power. Again, I repeat that. We have that power, but we've relinquished it. It's imperative that we take it back.
Absolutely. One other situation I'd like to get your thoughts on is the United States' relationship with Saudi Arabia. Just this morning, the New York Times reported that Saudi Arabia had said that they would sell billions of dollars of U.S. assets if the U.S. pursues a bill that would allow the Saudi Arabia to be held responsible, possibly the 28 pages, the 28 classified pages related to 9/11, that some have said point a finger at Saudi Arabia. That the kingdom has basically threatened to liquidate U.S. assets if the U.S. pursues this path. And what are your thoughts on the geopolitical implications of that situation? And would Saudi Arabia really carry out such a threat?
Well, it's all a big dog and pony show, if you ask me. Saudi Arabia and America and Israel and England and all of these stooge nations have the same master. It is required for us to believe that there are adversarial, democratic principles at play. And Saudi Arabia, quite frankly, is an extension of American imperialism. It is a partner, an intimate partner with Israel. the idea that Saudi Arabia has some sort of autonomy and sovereignty when actually exercise something that the powers above don't approve is ridiculous. So it hardly really matters what they say. And I also see great diversion in this because Saudi Arabia played a minor role in 9/11. Israel played the primary role, along with traitors in the U.S. government and military. So this is a diversion from the fact of publicly available records which prove Mossad and Israeli involvement in 9/11. So, it's another smoke and mirrors little game of illusions, quite frankly.
Yeah, that's sort of my next question I was going to. I was going to lead to Israel's involvement, but obviously you touched on that, and I think that's definitely another key area where you have been very vocal in speaking out about that, and within. I don't want to say the 9/11 truth movement, just those who don't trust the government's story, there does seem to be a reluctance in some people to point the finger at Israel or even the U.S. government itself. So it seems like in some way, if we're stopping at just Saudi Arabia, then ultimately it would be a diversion from deeper truths. And I do worry that that's something that could happen. That okay, well they'll release these pages eventually, and people will be like, well, we fought for the truth and we got it. Here it is, and nobody in the U.S. government would be held responsible, and our relationship with Israel would continue.
Yes.
But I'd like to get more into the solutions now. What can you tell us about World Citizen that that you're ready to release publicly so far?
Well, people often say we need to unite, and that's something I agree with. Actually, we do. We need to unite in significant numbers. The problem is, how? What can we unite around? And, a lot of people, especially you saw in Occupy, a lot of reference to 99%, but ideas were being injected into Occupy, which were not by any stretch universally accepted. In fact, many of them are extremely divisive. Socialism versus capitalism, all sorts of very divisive issues. And, so it makes sense that if we want to try and find something to unite around, that it is in truth universally accepted, or, vast majority. Yeah. So the basic crux of the World Citizen Plan, there are many layers of strategy to it, and it is an extremely powerful and extremely constructive plan. But the things that I've released thus far should, in itself, tell people what it is that we have in terms of our power. Because here's the contract that I would propose, and that contract will be given power by how many who decide to participate within it. But there are three things outlaid in a new social contract, and the three things are very simple. One, I am, in my case, a man, and I affirm my natural rights. Nobody in their right mind could object to that. I have the right to life, liberty, to express myself freely, not to be oppressed, to be able to travel, the right to self-defense. These are all natural rights. There's no reason why anybody should object to any of these things. So that's the first element. The second element of that contract is I am a man, and as a world citizen, I obligate myself to respect the natural rights of every single other human being on this planet. So no borders, that doesn't matter, every single human being. So it's the golden rule, very simply put, in writing, and a contract not between us and the state, but between us as people. No third party involved. The third element, very simple, regardless of the stupid little lines we've drawn all over the planet that dictate the parameters of our nation-state borders, we all come from planet Earth. Well, most all of us at least. Some of us probably don't, but for the vast majority of us, we come from planet Earth. And as such, this planet gives us life. It is our mother, effectively. And we have been shitting on our mother. This is very stupid behavior. Why are we allowing depleted uranium, chemtrails, all sorts of pollution, petrochemical products? The petro industry itself is inherently polluting. We had Tesla provide us proof of free energy well over a century ago. People who talk about, global warming and all this stuff, I'm amazed at how few talk about free energy as a viable solution. We don't need nuclear power and the waste that it inherently involves. We should be respecting our planet. We should not be indulging in technologies which are harmful to the planet. We have solutions for everything. Hemp, as an example of a great product which we should be using, which is largely outlawed around the world, part of the solution. We have free energy. There are solutions for virtually every problem, but at the end of the day, we need to start respecting our planet as we would respect our mother. So there's just these three elements: affirming our natural rights as men and women, respecting the natural rights of everyone else, and respecting this planet. Very simple. Now, of 7 billion people on this planet, I'm pretty confident that there are at least tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions, potentially even billions out of that 7 billion who would be willing to sign a contract like that. And Yeah, so, for me, the only issue is how many people are going to be willing to sign that contract. And part of the beauty of it is that it's so simple that it'll be translated into all the major languages. So we'll see how many out of the 7 billion of us are willing to sign that contract. But if enough of us sign it, I think 10 million should be a good figure. Then we'll go into phase 2, which is, as a world citizen, I can't pay your tax because we can prove that that tax is being used to violate our fellow human beings. That would be a violation of the social contract I've entered into as a world citizen. But by the nature of the program itself, we will have the money to be able to pay the international attorneys to be able to take the defense of the world citizens who refuse to pay the tax on very moral and lawful grounds. And we won't be going into court as individuals who are refusing to pay taxes for moral reasons. We're going to go in with a moral and a lawful argument to be able to defend ourselves. And at the end of the day, it's going to force a reality upon humanity, which is, if the state says we cannot take peaceful, lawful action to remove ourselves from any obligation to pay for mass murder and violations against other people, that effectively we are the property of the state, and that the state can dictate to us that we are nothing but fundraisers to finance terrorism and war and violations of other people, well then good, let's talk about that. Because for me, that's not acceptable, completely unacceptable. So the governments can go fuck themselves, quite frankly. I'm not paying your blood money anyway. I've said it openly many times. So the motherfuckers can come after me. I don't give a shit, quite frankly. I'm going to die with my self-respect. But I believe the World Citizen Plan holds more power than anything else out on the table. If I knew of another plan that was more intelligent, more powerful, and more realistic than this one, I would gladly support it. But I have no awareness of such a plan, and that's exactly why I came up with it.
Awesome. And where can people find more about that? And do you have a specific date you think that you'll put it out fully?
I really want to get it out there as soon as possible, but it's going to be several more months for us to do all the work to get it all lined up, to present it the right way. The website for it is worldcitizen.solutions. So again, worldcitizen.solutions with an S at the end. There'll be updates there. People can get on the email list. But trust me, when we launch it, everyone's going to hear about it who's paying attention.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
I appreciate it.